jump on here. Alright, just get right down to it. See if my joints in here. Just gonna work on sealing some corks on my HPT Enigma rods. And I've got a Atomic 29 as well. Let me get these out of here. I can fix this thing. Hey, how's it going, bud? My name's Dustin. I like to bass fish. And yeah. Right now I'm working on some rods. I got some cork sealant. I'm just gonna seal these up, make sure, try to extend the life of these handles. Yeah, if you got any questions or anything, feel free just to comment in and I'll try to get to them as they show up. Sellers, what's up, buddy? Just so you know, I'm fixing my reels here, or my rods rather. I got some of this cork sealer. It's Cadillac. It's actually a shoe cork sealer. I've seen a couple other products on Amazon that are made specifically for fishing rods, but they didn't. They weren't shipping right now, probably because of COVID or whatever. Like they weren't stocked, so I guess the way it works is Amazon's not taking any new shipments in. So if they have it in stock, they'll ship it, but they're not taking anything new. So that's why I went with this. It's Cadillac cork sealer. Shoe expert since 1963. But whenever I seen it on Amazon, it was advertised for fishing rods as well. So I've already put on one rod and I fished with it the other day and I had no issues with it. So now I'm gonna do the rest of them. But yeah, you guys can join in if you got any questions or anything. I'd love to hear from you. Thor, how's it going, man? Hey, how's it going? EJ, Monaco, Carmen, Kyle, Eric, Dalton. How's it going, guys? Taylor, what's up, sis? Nick, how's it going, bud? Yeah, again, I'm just sealing these rods, or these, the rods here, just the corks. So this is the HPT. This is Enigma Fishing's rods here that I've been using for a long time. And I did a little bit of research. It's kind of like a mixed bag as far as people saying you have to seal them, but I think it's worth. I mean, I bought 2 of these bottles for like $6. I think it's worth, you know, just doing it, trying to protect this investment here. Taylor, what am I forgetting? What would I forget? What flexibility rating does your rods have? How is it practical in everyday bass fishing? Thanks for that, sellers. So it varies, Kyle. Some of these have the faster tip. You know, it's good. You got like trying to catch up to a fish, or it's like loading up. Some of them a little bit slower. So I have the first generation Phenoms, and okay. Sorry, can I get? Yes, my hair's long. Kind of get distracted here. I'm not used to this Facebook Live stuff. Anyway, I got the Phenoms, and they're the 7.2 heavies. And what I noticed was, anytime I'm using a spinnerbait or a worm or something, anytime it really has to load up, it seems like those fish are kind of getting off. And it might be like a psychological thing. It just, because I'm missing fish on every rod. So, but really what I've done is I use the 7.2 heavies for mainly square bills and small crankbaits because it doesn't seem to affect them as much. But with spinner baits and worms, things like that, I go back down to that medium heavy. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Shimano, nope, I never fished any of those reels. Basically, since I've started, I fished strictly Garcia. And I think it's just something about the really low profile. And I don't know, I guess I'm just so used to it now that I don't try too much else. I hear good things. I heard a lot of people talking about them. My buddy at work was just talking about it. Yeah, Kyle, I'm not buying you anything. I'll give you a couple of these plastics I got, but and I'll take you fishing. And you got first dibs on the boat when I sell it too, Kyle. So you'd be good for that. All right, so what I've done with this handle is I just cleaned it off with, I actually got dude wipes, just like a baby wipe or anything. And then I'm gonna make sure it's drying, and I'll put this sealant on here. I don't know if you guys can really see down here. But I've had this one for probably about 8 months with no sealant. So it's pretty dirty. And that's one thing, you just wanna make sure it's nice and clean. That way this product can really get down and seal that cork off. All right, so I'm just gonna apply this like really generously, and then I'll wipe it off with a paper towel. Let it really soak in. I don't wanna leave it like this. And I'll say too, I am absolutely no expert at all. I've done one other rod, and it worked out fine. But just basically what I've seen, that's kind of where I'm getting, I guess, this advice. I wouldn't really say it's advice. This is just how I'm doing it based off the videos I've already watched. Let's see what we got. Okay, you can take me fishing. I'll fish you with one hand. All right, that's a deal. That'll be our first fishing challenge. You only get one hand. Good stuff. The same way with Shimano on various rods, but always. Yeah, so I have had several different rods. Pick them up like real cheap, and not so much on the reels, but I found a lot of cheap rods. And then I stumbled upon Enigma, and I've been fishing with them ever since. And then I joined their pro staff, and now I literally don't touch anything else. So Enigma makes reels now. When I first signed up with Enigma, they didn't have them, and I just haven't bought any yet. Like I said, I'm like strangely committed to Garcia reels, and anytime I get a deal on them, I'll buy them up. I just got when I was at the Classic, I just bought the ALF, which is hands down the best reel I've ever touched. I can't even believe it. I've got like 10 rods on the deck of the boat, and what I want to do is just retie everything and throw the ALF. It really is awesome. All right, so as you can see, it's like real generous now, and then I'm just gonna wipe it off with a paper towel, because if not, I imagine it'll dry like with those ridges, and it's obviously not something that I'm gonna want. So something I noticed on my other rod was it got a little sticky at first. Like I could kind of feel the product even after it had dried, and I wasn't like too concerned about it, but as the day went on, I didn't notice it anymore. Yeah, so I think it's just maybe, even now, it's kind of like a glue substance. Now it's kind of sticking in this paper towel. But I got it dried in there, or I got it like dry to touch. I'll let that soak in and clean this up here. And I just kind of see how it goes. You can tell it's a little bit different color. Well, maybe not in the light. But see how that one's like a little bit brighter? So you can tell there's product on there now. It's got that little tack to it. But as I said, as I'm fishing with it, it kind of dries out. You don't really notice it. A couple of videos I was watching, the guy was saying one of the perks that he had was that it made it a little bit stickier. Like had a little bit more grab to it, which is something that he liked. And cork handles themselves are already really good. They have a lot of grip. So it's just, you know, it'll only get better, you know. All right, who else we got? Ruth, how's it going? Marvin? Kyle, you staying on or you getting off? If you guys got any questions, feel free. I definitely don't know that much, but if you have any questions about me or fishing in general, I guess I can try to help you out. And while I'm doing this, I'll talk a little bit about the conditions down here. So I live in Hinesville, Georgia, which is, if you know Savannah, Georgia. You ever do any shrimp boating? No, that would be fun though. Yeah, that's one thing. See, I get distracted really easy on here. But one thing I do regret about being here, I live like an hour from the coast. I do regret like not getting out like offshore fishing that much. Like, you know, charters or anything, but even being this close, I just like to bass fish too much. I fished a lot on the beach. I shark fished in the summer when it got real hot, and bass fishing seems to slow way down. But yeah, I do kind of regret, after being here for a couple years, not getting out and doing more like offshore stuff. But I kind of promised Megan that I wouldn't invest a lot of money into saltwater fishing, so because I would have to put so much money into bass fishing. That's kind of how that worked out. But anyway, here, and so if you're familiar with Savannah, about 45 minutes south. Yeah, we'll just say it's south. You go down 95, and I'm down here in Hinesville. And right now, like the rest of the South, today specifically, it's been raining a ton. It's supposed to rain, I think you probably get about 12 hours of rain after it's all said and done. So what I mainly fish here, what there mainly is here, there's no big lakes within an hour. So I fish a lot of the rivers, and they have little tournaments on the rivers like that. Savannah River is obviously up north a little ways. And the problem with the rivers here is, well, it's all like lowland. You know, they call it the low country. And the problem is that when it floods, the banks ain't very steep. So even just a foot or two push that water deep up into the bank. And basically, I mean, I'm sure, and if there's anybody on here, where's the big lake at, Caleros? About an hour. Lindsay Grace? But anyway, if there's anybody on here that knows how to fish these, like, it's like swampy, flooded river systems, let me know. Because the only thing I know to do is to push up deep into that, up into the woods and stuff like that, and just so much ground to cover. It's pretty hard to really target in the fish. So we'll go out and get maybe one or two bites, and a lot of times they're not even bass. You know, there's a lot of bowfin up there. Oh my gosh, I cannot get this thing off here. So if anybody's got any advice on fishing super flooded rivers, I'd like to know. Because we haven't really figured it out yet. Gonna shoot some, click here. Yeah, fishing the river is like totally different, and it's been really cool for me because moving. Before here, I lived in Colorado, so we was fishing like those highland reservoirs way up in the mountains, and it would be like 100-foot, super clear lakes, fishing for smallmouth and spotted bass. There's largemouth too, but you know, fishing like finesse jigs, things like that. But you're really targeting. You can target the bank, but it never seemed like there's a lot of big ones there. But we target like offshore stuff and these little points. And then here in the river, it's a lot different. There's all these oxbow lakes, and I don't really know how to explain an oxbow if you don't know. It's kind of like, I guess you could think of it like a lagoon almost, where it's just all around the river. It's like real tree. There's not a lot of like just straight bank, and it's like flooded up in, and then you'll kind of go through, and then it'll open up into what they call an oxbow lake. And so we fish there a lot, try to target things, try to target structure there. But a lot of times it's just out in the river looking for current breaks. So if you find like a good bend and there's a log jam there, a lot of times there'll be fish stacked up there. And in the oxbows, you can kind of fish it like a normal lake, where you're if there's any structure there on the bank, you can flip into there and target that stuff. That usually works pretty good. But like I said, once the river floods out, all that stuff's gone. And then as far as the eye can see, it's water, you know. And sometimes the spot that you were flipping at is now 10, 15 foot deep. So it just makes it difficult. And I haven't figured out the trick yet of how to fish in those conditions. I know guys are fishing right now, and some people catch them, some ain't, but I don't know. I don't know the secret. Oh, I knew what you meant there, Bubba Gump. All right, let's go back up here. All right, Eric, if you're still on. Yeah, actually, there's this little pond here that I've caught. In the same little cove, I caught 2 channel cats on a spinnerbait. Just yesterday, actually that was a rattle trap. I caught a crappie on a spinnerbait yesterday. Catching mudfish all the time, but you know, bowfin, as a lot of people know them. Sorry, I'm getting this line untangled. Yeah, it seems like you can catch, like I said, I caught a crappie today on a spinnerbait, catfish. It seems like a spinnerbait is endless. All right. Oh, I'm losing my comments here. Oh yeah, Evans County, PFA. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger. They just had a tournament there, so they're trying to like expand the Marne Bass Trail. And they're trying to take it off post sometimes, and they fished a tournament there last Saturday, and the wind and weight was only 4.5 pounds. It used to be a lot better. I know it did. I fished a tournament there before, and I didn't get a single bite, but I was fishing over on the dam, and apparently that's the exact opposite of what you would do, because nobody around me was catching fish, and I think they had a pretty good bag that day. But I was just not on the right stuff. I had no idea. And I'm trying to think. I know there's like been some good 10-pounders caught out of there, stuff like that, but I haven't fished there a lot just because of those few experiences. I went there before that, like tried to pre-fish, and I couldn't really figure it out because the water was super shallow back then, but I don't know. All right. Brent, what's up, buddy? Brad, how you doing? Yeah, you guys just tuning in. I'm just putting this sealant on my rods here. I have a couple Cork handles. I have HPTs and the Atomic 29s, and I'm just trying to. I've not really experimented with this stuff before, so I'm just using this Cadillac cork sealer. Just trying to hopefully extend the life. See, even here, just a little bit older rod. Had it for a couple months. I've got a couple cracks in there, if you can kind of see it. And that's the kind of stuff. There's some chipping. Hopefully this sealant prevents that from happening. So we'll see how it works out. Yeah, if you guys got any questions or anything, feel free to chime in. I'm not doing anything else. Megan just put Charlotte to bed, and this is usually the time I come out here and mess with my stuff. We kind of rotate on who puts her to sleep, but about this time almost every night it seems like I'm out here doing something. So I figured I'd just get on live and see if anybody had any questions or anything. But yeah, fishing out here, it's pretty tough, and I'm sure the guys that know really well, you know, that's probably a secret they'll keep close to them, but I'm about to leave here in a month. I'm moving back to Indiana, and it'll be a whole new fishery. So the rumor has it, which was kind of like it was in Colorado, they say if you can catch fish in Indiana, you can catch fish anywhere. So we'll see how it works out transitioning from here. And I know the fish are a lot smaller up there, just because of the season. I mean, here, people catching 10 pounders all the time. Of course, I never get that lucky, but you know, just a warm climate and you know, like the longer summers, I think it just allows those fish to grow a lot bigger. Okay, Aaron, what's up, buddy? Blade combo. All right, so my primary one is, this is what I use all the time. You guys watch any of my videos? Of course, I'm tangled up here. If you watch my videos, you'll see, right now at least, lately, this has been my prime bait. It's just something I have a lot of confidence in, and so not saying it's necessarily the best, but for me, it's just something I can throw basically all day and just feel good about it. So, actually this one's a little bent out. Let me pull out a brand new one too. So I just bought these not too long ago. It's the Booyah Covert series. So this is my, even in the, just the straight, I don't even know what they're called, the generic Booyahs. This is my go-to. I have the nickel. This is like a Colorado blade. Well, this is more, I don't know what kind of blade that is. This is like a teardrop, but normally I have like a nickel Colorado and then a gold Indiana blade would be my prime go-to in the white chartreuse. This one's got a little black in it. Let me pull it out of the box. So this is what, yeah, here we got the little nickel Colorado and then that gold Indiana. And this one's got like no speckling or anything like that in it. I just bought these, threw them for the first time this week, and it's been going good so far. What I wanted to do was to go out there and throw them both, but it was like hard to commit to like changing it, you know. So I threw this the entire time the other day, and we just came off that first rain we had earlier in the week. I think the pressure was a little high, and I only caught about 5 or 6 fish, when normally I would catch 10 or 15 in this place that I went. So I don't know if it was the spinnerbait necessarily, the conditions, or maybe it just wasn't a spinnerbait bite at all. But in the morning I had no issues. I hooked up about the same as I kind of expect to. I caught 4 within about a 100-yard stretch of bank. Actually, I just edited that video today, so I'll post that video tomorrow if you guys want to check that out. But I do have, like you were saying, I do have with some red orange blades, and then I have again this was a Colorado, but I have that gold Colorado blade, and then the orange little Colorado blade. And I got this one. It has the red head. So if you go on lurenet.com, they have, I think they call it the heat map, and it's like this little chart that tells you, like you select like your water clarity, and there's another parameter, clarity, and maybe temperature, and it has like every spinnerbait they make on there, and then you click it. Well, it has like these little bubbles, and you click that, and it'll tell you which spinnerbait is the best for that condition. So that's kind of what I did. I went with super muddy and around 70 degrees, I think, just as like a roundabout. That's about what I think we're sitting at now. And it came up with the red head with the orange blade. So haven't tried it yet. I haven't been back on the river, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, these are brand new to me, the Covert series. Like I said, I normally just fish the cheapest generic Booyahs, and if anybody knows Michael Murphy, he can tell you, me and the spinnerbait, we're like best friends. I don't know what it is. It works for me. But I wanted to try it. The only issue with these is, well, I don't know where our box is at, but it's a real thin wire, and you definitely need a handful of these in a boat, because after you catch a couple fish on them, and they'll bend out really easy. You start bending them back, and they'll just snap. All right. Hey Chris, how's it going, bud? I don't know if you're still on. Sorry. Sticking Thor. I'm sticking the Dobbins rods. So I have a cord. Yeah, I haven't fished with Dobbins either. Fish with Duckett. I like Duckett because they're real light. But I'm actually really pleased. I wouldn't say Enigma is. I mean, Duckett is, from what I know, like one of the premier like lighter rods, even in the $99 rod. And the Enigma is a little bit heavier, but I think it's better for a $99 rod. That's what's great about Enigma is all the rods are affordable. There are between, I think the cheapest one right now they have is probably $79, and then the most expensive is $109 or $119, and that's it. That's the top of the line rod they have is a $119, which I think is pretty interesting because, you know, you'll see some companies, they have the $99 rod, but that's not, you know, you see the pros fishing, but do they have the $99 rod? Well, obviously some of them do, and just like Garcia with the reels, you see some pros fishing the Revo X, but most of the times they're fishing that $300 reel. It's not really like realistic to guys like me, at least. So that's why one thing I really appreciated about Enigma is there's nothing like unattainable. And Jesse Tecarane and those guys, this is what they fish with. This is exactly the same rods I have in my hand are the same ones they fish with at this good and affordable price. So it's just I think it's a deal that you can't beat. And I think, like I said, I think it says a lot about the company that, you know, there's not that extremely I mean, I don't know if it's overpriced, but that extremely expensive rod, and yet the pros still are out here on the Elite Series fishing with these exact rods that cost us, you know, $99 to $120. So they obviously stand behind their product, and I think that's pretty cool. All right, Chris, why spinner baits? Oh, cool, yeah. What's cool about these, so I never really paid attention. Let me wipe this off real quick before I get ahead of myself. I never really paid attention to the head of the spinnerbait. So, little backstory on my spinnerbait fishing, I guess. In Colorado, you know, buddy Tyler our big thing was KVD. You know, his favorite lure is a spinnerbait. So we were up in Colorado fishing for smallmouth and spotted bass, and we never got bit because that's not what they're going to be biting on, you know. So I never put a lot of stock into spinnerbaits. I had a handful that I got from, I mean, this one's even rusted out. Actually, I'll throw that back there. I got a handful like here and there, but this is not something I ever had a lot of confidence in. And I think I was on maybe the Savannah River, and just one day the water was real murky, and kind of out of nowhere I just picked up a spinnerbait, and kind of like, as I say, the rest is history, because now I would say it's probably my favorite lure, at least for these conditions down here. The muddy rivers, the fishing like flooded timber, even the grass lines, because it comes through that stuff like reeds. It comes through it so well, and what I do is, and I haven't experimented a ton with it because I'm a little bit stubborn to making changes. When I'm on the water, I will think about things, you know, the night prior or days prior, like, okay, when I go out today, I'm going to do this different. But when I'm on the water, one thing I really need to work on is adapting and changing if things ain't working, you know. But so what I like to do is, for the most part, and especially right now, is I'll throw these spinnerbaits into the same position I would throw a worm or a jig or something, up as deep as I can get it, where I know I can retrieve it, up in the reeds, up in little pockets next to timber, things like that, kind of where I'd be targeting with a jig. And I'll let it sink for just a second, and I'll start slow rolling it back to the boat. So like I said, maybe it's something I need to change, because I almost always have a nice, slow, steady retrieve. And something I like to do also, as soon as I get in the water, I let it sink, I give it one little twitch. And it was kind of like a result of being hung up a lot, that it kind of made it this weird habit. But now I strangely like noticed that I'm getting bit more times when I give that little bit of twitch. It's like almost as if it's getting their reaction immediately, and then they'll follow it out. They'll be more apt to bite it that way. But let it sink, give it a little twitch just to kind of get it straightened back out, and then I'll start just slowing it, slow retrieving it right out of that cover and back to the boat. And I would say I come about 3/4 of the way, because I like to target those fish that are, you know, not in that jig area, way up deep. I'll fish the ones that kind of lurking around. Maybe they're on that bank. They're at a different level that I can't really recognize. So I'll fish about 2/3 or so away back to the boat. That's the same retrieve, and sometimes I'll get them right there at the boat. But like I've been kind of mentioning, is something that I think I need to do is, if it's not working, which, not to be like conceited about it, but like lately the spinnerbait's just been absolutely on fire, and it's almost as if I have no reason to change. But I mean, obviously there's days when it doesn't work, but when it's not working, I think something I really need to do is maybe speed it up, because you hear people burning spinnerbaits on the top, or even maybe I need to let them sink a little bit more, which I'll do when I know, if I can kind of see the depth of the structure. Like I can vividly remember this little spot. I think I've got it on a video on my page. It was like this nice lay down, and I kind of throw into this fork of the tree, and I let it flutter down for a while, and then I start retrieving, and sure enough, right there was a fish. So yeah, I think just being aware, if I'm not getting bit on a good spinnerbait day, cloudy conditions, overcast, or first thing in the morning, maybe something I need to do is speed it up. And I should go out, and I always tell myself I'm going to do these things, but I should go out and I should just try to fish it real fast. Just like I say, I'm going to go out and fish nothing but swim baits for a day, and I never end up doing it. But I think that's probably something I need to do if I'm going to take this serious at all. I'm sure people have given that advice a lot. Some days it's not about catching fish, it's about getting out there and learning. Sorry, I'm all tangled up here on this. Some days it's about getting out there and learning, a certain type of action. But as anybody else would say also, sorry, I don't know what angle I got you out here. Somehow I got this thing super tangled up. The biggest thing is fishing with confidence, and I can attest to that. I mean, obviously just as well as anybody else, but if I'll be trying a new bait, if it ain't catching fish right away, it's really easy for me just to give up on it. And if my buddy was on, he could tell you the same thing. That's what we both do. It's just like one of those flaws that we have. We kind of know what should be working, and we'll stick that in our hand for the whole day, and then sometimes not even catch a fish. So it's definitely something that I need to work on. I know he talks about working on it. I think I already got that one. Let's see if I can squeeze this guy out of here. Oh, what I meant to say too about the spinnerbaits is, right now, like I was saying, if anybody's still on from then, I have this brand new, it's not brand new to anybody but me, I guess, but it's the Revo ALF. All right, I got this at an amazing deal. I think it's $279. like retail. I got it when I was at the Classic for I think 120 bucks. So obviously it was a deal that I just absolutely could not pass up, and it's the best reel that I've ever put in my hand. And if it wasn't for the deal, I simply couldn't afford it, and I couldn't justify spending that much on one reel. But I'm sure glad that I had that opportunity to get that deal, and I have it now because it really is the best. But anyway, I think this is the 6. If I can twist it around, that's what I was doing before. This is a 6-4-1, and that's what I fish my spinnerbait on. And even here with the 6-4-1, I'll still go really slow. I don't know if I can really match my speed, but I'll probably be about something like that. I know it's pretty hard to, but yeah, just nice and easy. And usually, when you fish the spinnerbait, you can see it as it gets closer, even further out. But I'm really watching that bait kind of cruise along. And it's just something that I kind of did before, was nice and slow, and it worked for me. And now, like I said, I'm kind of stuck in that way, but I know I need to change it up if things ain't working. I don't even know if I can get this rod out of here. My goodness. Alright, let's see what we got here. Well, I'm trying to untangle this mess. Alright. Yeah, I fish a lot of. Is the water pretty? Is it pretty clear, or is it muddy there? But I when I first moved here, that was my big thing, was fishing almost strictly black worms and green pumpkin, the watermelon candies, things like that. And honestly, I got bored of fishing with just a worm, and I'm trying to be completely transparent. Like I said, I don't know maybe even a single % of what I need to know in order to remotely call myself a professional fisherman. But I have the passion and enough to that. Even if I am catching fish on something like the worm, like that example I was given, I will put it down to try to learn a new skill. Now, it's hard for me to do it when I'm on the water, but I'll really, give myself pep talk the day before that. Hey, no matter what happens, I'm trying this new technique and I'm gonna figure it out. And it's not something that you should obviously be doing in tournaments, but I think it is worth getting out there on days that have it's not really important that you catch fish, as far as like making money or anything, and just get out there and learn new techniques. That way, you're better equipped to handle situations when they come up in a tournament. Even I was fishing just a couple days ago, and it was pretty overcast. I didn't really check the weather that day. It was overcast for most of the day, and then all of a sudden it just turned bluebird sky, hot and sunny, and I had to make a change. I didn't really make any good decisions. I started fishing offshore just because that's where I thought they would be at. Found some structure, and I'm catching one on a crankbait about 15 foot deep, but it wasn't like I made a huge change and everything got significantly better. But I knew I had to change, and that was just from my experience fishing bluebird skies before, that unless I'm going to sit and throw a wacky rig all day on that worm, then I have to change what I'm doing, and that's what I did. I went from fishing, flipping jigs and spinner baits up on the bank to looking for some stuff offshore. So, all right, green tail. But yeah, if anybody's new to the stream here, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm just working on my rods. I'm using this cork sealant just to kind of seal them up, hopefully extend the life of these corked handles. I don't have any complaints about these. handles. I've had some of these HPTs for almost a year now. I've had no real issues with them. There's a little chip in one of them, but probably just, you know, getting thrashed around the boat or whatever. But generally, there's no issues. I haven't heard of any complaints about them online. It's just something that I've heard of, so I looked it up and I figured it'd be worth trying out. So that's what I'm working on tonight. You ever use Magic Reel? I'm not sure what that is. Like is that like the lubricant? Like real, is it like real magic? I'm not sure. If it's like an attractant, just to kind of talk about that too, I have absolutely no confidence in any attractants. It's just, I don't know if it's just the time I'm actually fishing it, I'm not fishing the right bait, and then when I add that attractant, it's not because of the attractant, it's just because I'm not fishing the right thing. But I can never seem to get the attractants to work, like Liquid Mayhem, things like that. I've just never had any luck with them. I've got a bunch of the Berkley Max Sense, and let's see here. Sorry, I get distracted pretty easy. I use the Berkley Max Sense, and oh yeah, okay. See, again, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, I've heard of that. I have not used it. I think I've kind of heard mixed things about it, but obviously it's big enough to where there's definitely a demand for it. I hear some people say you don't need it. I guess you wouldn't know unless you use it, you know, because I do notice that sometimes my line does get curled up and stuff, so maybe it's worth trying just to see like the difference, you know. I don't think you would actually know until you tried it, you know. I don't know, have you ever used it? Now I forgot what I was talking about before. Oh, the Sense. Oh, yeah, the Berkley. So I used the Max Sense that I got. They've got, like, you know, it's supposed to hold 18 times longer. I don't really know. Obviously, there's like data or like some sort of analytic on that, like some sort of research. I didn't notice any difference. But again, I think one thing that I do a lot is like I really overthink like a situation. Like, okay, this didn't work. Is it because it's Berkley Max Sense, or is it because I'm not fishing the right stuff at the right time, you know? So I kind of overanalyze things a little bit. But hopefully that helps me in the long run and makes me better. But yeah, but what it does is it kind of hurts my confidence on some things. So a good example is this is the Scott Canterbury's Pro Buzz bait, and I really like buzz baits. This is my HTP 6'6". Something there. I really like buzz baits for topwater. And I haven't had a ton of luck on this yet. I don't think it's because of this buzzbait. I think it's just because I haven't been fishing it the right places, the right times. So I'm not going to give up on that yet because it's relatively new to me. How do I use? Cons. I think maybe the only con would be, does it affect your reel at all? Like the gears, or like does it create like any sort of buildup or anything on the bearings or anything like that? I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't think I know enough about it to have a good opinion. Let's see if we go back to the comments. See if there's anything I missed. Yeah, I'm not really sure about reel magic. It's just something I have to try before I can make a real opinion on it. Let me trim this off on here. If anybody's just joining, like I said, I basically just got done. I put on this Cadillac cork sealer on all my cork handled rods here. It's kind of hard to tell now because they're all done, but they got a little bit different shade to them. I first used them, they got a little bit of tack to them. It's kind of almost a good thing, really, but you can definitely tell that you applied a product, and hopefully it extends the life of these cork handles. So that'll be good. I think that's just about, I did that one. I just started using it. The only thing I see is where I was with the water. Yeah, I can imagine that would happen. Wow. Let me see if I can change this angle a little bit here. Try and get these rods cleaned up. Make sure I got all of them. I definitely need a bigger boat. The problem with, I've got a coastal tracker. Let me fix this. It's like the coastal series. I think most of this is a 17.5 foot tracker. The deck doesn't come out all the way to the, I don't know, I can't even think of what it's called right now. But it doesn't come all the way out here to the console. There we go. And the console is not offset on the right side of the boat, so it's hard to put rods there. But what I do is I have one spinning rod that I keep on the boat, and if I can turn this around, I can actually tuck it up under here. But as far as putting, I don't know if you can see because now the comments are in the way, but as far as my bait casters, I can only put them on one side of the boat because the way my deck extends out. So it's definitely time for me to upgrade my boat because these just spend the whole day getting tangled up. It's obviously a little easier when the tow motor's up, but it is what it is. If you guys are just joining, if you have any questions, I definitely don't claim to know really anything, but I can give you my my best guess at a question you'd like to answer, if anything you'd like to know. And if you're just tuning in, I've been using this Cadillac cork sealer. It's actually this is a shoe product, but as it was advertised, you can use it on fishing rods as well. And it was the only thing that Amazon would ship within a couple days, so that's why I picked this up. And there was no bad reviews about it. And I put it on a couple days ago on one of my rods just to try it out before I did all of them, and had no issues. So hopefully that'll seal the cork and it will extend the life of my rods. So yeah, if there's any questions, I'll probably get off here pretty soon. Like I said, I'm just kind of hanging out, working on that stuff. See if there's anything you guys are interested in. One thing I was going to talk about was the fishing conditions. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but right now, the Altamont River is where I primarily fish. It's about 15 minutes away, and you want to fish it at about 6 foot, like on the. They've got the gauge that you can visit online. I'm looking at it right now, actually. The prime time is when it's about 6 foot because it'll be low enough into the bank that you can actually target structure without it being too deep, because most of the channel, most of the river itself is over 20 foot deep. So you want it to be about 6 foot at the gauge, and that'll put it around 10 to 15 foot out in the river. And that's what I've found to be the best fishing conditions in the river. And right now it is sitting at almost 12 feet. So it's double the height that I would consider prime fishing, and it's doing nothing but going up. It's still raining right now outside, actually. It's supposed to rain well into the night and probably into the morning. So it predicts by the 27th it'll be over 13 feet, and they categorize that as a minor flood. So fishing there is almost out of the question right now. And I've only got a couple weeks left here in Georgia, so I'm trying to fish as much as I can before I leave. Without traveling too far. I am on a travel restriction, thanks to the Army. Well, not thanks to the Army, like, you know, it's a COVID, and the Army has specific guidance on what we can do. So I can't like travel out to anywhere, any big lakes or anything, so I kind of have to just make do with what I got. Yeah, so maybe I'll hit the river this weekend, and we'll see how it goes, but I don't have a lot of confidence when the water's over double what I kind of need it to be. What I would consider good fishing. Yeah, you guys just joining in. If you have any questions or anything, I'd love to hear from you. Just finishing up these rods. Probably get off here pretty soon. But I just got bored and figured I'd come out and see if there's anything that anybody'd like to know. Alright, got that. Throw that stuff away. Try to see how long we've been online here. I don't know if it tells me how long I've been live for. Yeah, I don't think really anybody else can jump on. So if there is anybody watching still, it says one, but it might be myself because I'm streaming on the laptop as well. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. And I appreciate the comments and the questions. And I'll try to do this as often as I can. Kind of based off the need, you know, I won't just sit around and try to waste anybody's time. So I'm wasting my time, I'd be doing this stuff anyway. Like I was mentioning before, this is about where I spend every one of my nights. Either after my daughter goes to bed or me and my wife rotate who puts her down for the night. So I'll come out here and I'll work on stuff just about every night. So I don't think I'll go live every single night, but if I'm working on something big that maybe somebody has questions about, maybe I'll go live then. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.